Hello, everyone, and welcome to this latest episode of the Miramichi Historical Linkages podcast. I'm Sean McCarthy, joined today by Sarah Ward and our guest, Jimmy MacKinley. Jimmy, it's great to see you, and thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Sean. It's been a while, so it's good to see you as well. It's good to see you as well, Sarah.
So, Jimmy, what we've been doing on these podcasts is talking a little bit about connections and about how Miramichi connects to other places, nationally and internationally, through history, but also through culture and many other means. And so I think you have a unique kind of vantage on that, being Miramichi's, I dare say, Miramichi's premier comedian. How Miramichi connects to other places through humor and through through levity and all of this. So, I mean, you've traveled a fair bit with your comedy. So maybe share with us a little bit about some of your background and some of your travels that
Sure.
bring you here today.
Sure, thanks. Yeah, so thank you very much for that introduction. Hopefully, I've earned those accolades. I started, I guess, performing. I've always wanted to be a performer. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was always a little bit shy in school. Like I wasn't the class clown. We're going way back to elementary school here, Sean. I got my cat climbing around here. Yeah, so I wasn't really the class clown. I was shy, but I was funny in smaller groups. And I realized that, and I always wanted to sort of be an actor, and then such as yourself. But I was too shy to do stage. And I said, well, maybe I'll get into it when I'm in university and no one knows me. Mm-hmm. So I'll do that, because they already have the Sean McCarthys and the Sean Sauniers and the remember that guy? I love that guy.
I do.
I haven't
yes.
seen that guy in a long time.
Yeah, that's it.
And and the Shannon Fenlons and all of those people that were on stage in high school. And I said, well, they're busy there. I don't want to bother them, so I'll just wait till I'm in the big city of Fredericton, New Brunswick, and I'll start my performing career there. And that's where it pretty much started. In 2006, my friend Oliver, whose birthday yesterday, he convinced me to audition for my first. Sarah's gone. I'm not sure where she is. My first movie called Mailbox Romance, which I ended up getting an acting award for. Very great experience in 2011. And then fast forward through to 2011, because no one cares about 08 or 09. And it's like they never happened.
And we know why, Jimmy. We know why.
In that time together, Sean, we'll discuss that in a little bit. But that was a great experience. I think someone's still lost at Brentford Cove from that movie.
I'm sure of it.
He lost an assistant cameraman or something. He's still looking for the way out. 2011, October 6, 2011, I stepped on stage for the first time as a stand-up. Well, I couldn't call myself a stand-up comedian, but I was attempting to perform stand-up comedy on October 6, 2011 at the Wilsers Room, downtown Fredericton. And I did okay. I did 10 minutes. I kept going up every single month with new material, trying out new stuff. And then eventually I started to book some gigs down in St. John and started to make connections with comedians down there and doing some more open mics. I think I did my first private gig in 2012 here it was called the Boulevard Pub, which is now Apero. The owner hired me, gave me this crazy introduction. It was so nice of him. Half of it was true. 90% of it was false, actually. Yeah, that math makes no sense. I just started building relationships, and I'd never stopped. So I kept getting a little bit better. I say about every 5 years, I was like, oh, this is the type of comedian I want to be. I wouldn't necessarily throw away all my old jokes. I would sort of make them better when I learned how to act on stage, because you have to be funny. You can't really teach people how to be funny, but you can learn a lot of techniques about the stage, as you would probably agree with. So, the actor you were 10 years ago or 15 years ago is different than you are now. You still make mistakes every once in a while, but you can handle, like when I'm bombing on stage now, I know how to handle it. Whereas even 5 years ago, if I was doing a private gig, I do a lot of private parties and private gigs in New Brunswick and beyond. 5 years ago, I just would have melted and evaporated into a mini split. And then would have collected my body outside. And while the blazer was intact, and the blazer's intact, the blazer's waiting for me outside, and I just evaporate into the blazer and then salute Noban and then jump on a ferry and leave. There's ferries everywhere I do comedy, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think, not to get too existential here, but existential, it's too early to pronounce that word. I think, comedy is universal, and it's a great way to connect with people most of the time. Most of the time, yeah.
Right.
At the airport, no. At the airport, you don't want to. I think once I was at the airport. I was at the LAX, and you never want to joke when you're not from that country and you're in another country. And I was going into one of those. Like 3D imaging. I was getting an MRI at the airport. No, I was getting the X-ray. I was doing the X-ray machine where it goes 360, and it kind of looked like a time machine. So I said to the guy, I said, 1932, please. And I stepped in, and he said, sir, would you come over here? I was like, hey, I guess we're not joking about time machines at the airport at LAX.
That's it. They take their work seriously, I suppose.
They're very grumpy and overworked.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah, depending on the airport.
Yeah. In Miramichi Airport, there's no one there. You got to land yourself. Yeah. You got to get your friend out there with the cones. Yeah. And you're like, I'm not qualified for this. Where'd the pilot go?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I met Jim years ago. It's interesting you're using your Gilground cup for your coffee or whatever you're drinking.
Yeah, I didn't do that on purpose. I love this mug. Yeah. It's absolutely, yeah. We met Sarah and I worked together in 2014 to 2015 at JEDI, Joint Economic Development Initiative, delivering a curriculum, digital literacy. Yeah. It was digital literacy curriculum on several First Nation communities from all over New Brunswick, pretty much. Yeah. Mostly Miramichi, and then I went off to northern part of the province, and that was a great experience, and it was great to meet Sarah. And we've been connecting and talking. I haven't seen you in person in a few years, but we've been chatting here and there and trying to.
I've seen you walking
do something like this for a while. So
yeah.
That's creepy. Like you're just in a tree with binoculars. Like there's the guy with the laser with this aggressive hat shirt.
I'm creating jokes for you. Yeah, because I know.
Keep them coming. I need some more new. I need new ones.
Yeah, the majority of our classes were women, right? Yeah, Indigenous women in our class.
Majority was, That was interesting.
Yeah, and it was interesting because he would say,
we had a potluck at the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he'd try his jokes on the women. Sometimes they kind of look funny.
Oh my! I was also very new at the time too. I was only doing comedy about 2 years at the time when Sarah met me, and then Sarah, I don't want to say forced me to do a comedy show. Remember when we were in the? My girlfriend teaches in Nottawaganeg as well, and it was the house that we were in, that blue house in the basement.
Yeah.
That wasn't really set up for a classroom. I think there was one. What can I think of it? Outlet. That I was like, everything was going into this outlet, and
we had
and Marcel was in the class, and Pee Wee's in the class. Yeah, I remember.
We had a sink right there where we were standing over.
I do remember. Yeah. Yeah, it was not the best setup, but it was always a great experience just meeting people. They gave me gifts. Like this was one of the gifts they gave me. I did not even choose this mug on purpose. I just always drink out of this mug. I think this is the only mug I have, so I had no choice. But it's my favorite mug. It's a beautiful mug.
Then we went down to Burn Church.
What's that?
So then we traveled down to Burn Church.
Yeah, we went to Escanubaditch.
Escanubaditch, yeah.
I loved it down there. Yeah, I absolutely loved it. It was right on the water.
Yeah.
People out ice fishing. Something I've never done, but who knows? I'm only 38, right? I could start an ice fishing career. You and me, Sean.
Sure, I'm game.
It's just 2 weeks later, and then we're just frozen to death. holding a rod. Yeah, nothing on the end of it.
Exactly. That's it.
Well, I tell Joe when I see you walking, I say, there's my celebrity friend, Jim MacKinley. He's on the Trailer Park Boys.
No. No. You and my mother says that. Yeah. Whenever my mom works at Home Hardware, so when I go in, it's a big. I was like, I just want to get a key cut, and Mom has to. That's my little comedian there, and she's like, but he's not allowed to call on bingo night, Tuesday night. If you call, like you cannot. And I always forget because I have so many things to remember in my life that I can never remember that my mother is playing. It's either TV. I can't even remember what type of bingo it is. It's TV or radio bingo. And there's nothing more that she takes seriously than bingo. Like she has like the dabber holsters.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's quite serious. So if you call, and then you can't even text because she doesn't understand how to take an iPhone and just silence it. It's literally 2 strokes, 2 little things, gestures. And I said, then she's like, yeah, but then your father's iPad goes off. So he has an iPhone, she has an iPhone, and they're all iClouded in together. So then she's got to go around and I was like, just put them in the freezer.
Yeah. So when you travel, speaking of Miramichi, do you ever use some of the wording from the Miramichi dictionary to do some of your comedian? Like Doug's dictionary?
Yeah. So I think Doug Underhill, brilliant man. I think it does filter into my act. And if not, what I learned about comedy is there's a Miramichi everywhere. There's a Miramichi, there's a Miramichi in Toronto somewhere. There's a Miramichi in Vancouver, Montreal, or Nova Scotia. Everyone knows a little small town with a river that runs through it. And a lot of the jokes, as long as they're not specific, I'll genericize them a little bit. But you can, I can reuse jokes. I do a lot of jokes about like what I was just doing about mom and dad, because people can relate to those jokes because people will come up to me after a show and say, "Oh, my mom and dad are like that," or they're the mom and dad who like, I do that all the time with Joe, or I do that all the time with I can't think of another guy's name, Clint. Is anyone named Clint anymore? But there's no more Clint. Yeah, so it's comedy can be universal. I mean, there's super specific Miramichi jokes that I do that only work here, but I'll bust those out for like little shows that I do here. But yeah, comedy can be universal, and there's a small town everywhere, so people can. It's just like Trailer Park Boys. How Trailer Park Boys works in Los Angeles, and it's more popular in the United States than it is now. I think there's more subscribers now to their new platform than in Canada. That's probably erroneous, but I'm going to go and say that. You heard it here first. That's a fact. I have a histogram chart for the Trailer Park. What's on the X and what's on the Y. So they're really popular there because there's trailer parks in small towns and small trailer park communities all over North America. So it's very popular. So yeah, not even sure. Are we still talking about the mug? I think we're still talking about the mug.
My mug traveled down to New Mexico.
Sure. I mean, if there's more to say about the mug.
I met Sean McCarthy. Do you remember where I met you? Yes, you do. I still remember the character you play, but I can't spell the name.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah, I think we met at the Knights of Columbus Hall there in Newcastle when I auditioned for the for Spirit Cove.
Well, that's even super specific. Even before I'm going to say you played Guillaume in the movie.
That's right. Yeah. I was supposed to play Charles. First, I was supposed to play Chuck. Then I was supposed to play Charles. Then finally, I played Guillaume.
Yeah. I'm still figuring out who I played in that. So yeah, great experience and great to meet. It was a movie. It was a movie called Spirit Cove. So it was loosely based. Well, based on a couple of things. There's a dash of Acadian expulsion storytelling in it, as well as we've sort of overlaid with the headless nun legend as well. So there's fact and fiction, and so there's a lot to tell in it, and it was an interesting experience. And I look back at that, and I got to meet Rachel Bernard, I got to meet Sean McCarthy and Sean Saunier and Ali Parody and all of these people. You guys all live on Beaubears Island, right? So you're very
up until recently, yes.
You're on Beaubears Island right now, and you just have a background filter of us to pretend you're in a school. Great people, very talented people. Thomas Daly. I remember Tom. A story. My favorite part of producing that movie was we were at French Fort Cove, and I met Tom. And then he was supposed to be Acadian, but we were speaking English with sometimes not with the French accents. If they were a French actor, they would just speak English, with their natural accent. But if you didn't have an accent, I just said, just don't do it. Right? We were just like, okay, we're going to figure this out. And Tom was doing a British accent for some reason. I said, you're supposed to be an Acadian. And he said, I don't know why. He's even doing it when he's like off camera. He's like, I don't know why I'm doing it. He said, it's not even good. He said, I can't turn it off. I don't know why. I don't know why. I'm not British. I'm not playing a British person, but I'm doing a British accent. I said, it's pretty good, actually. I like it. Yeah. It's not going to work for the film, but I'll never forget that. I don't know if he'll ever remember that. You'll probably get mad and tell him that. No, he's back too. It was great to see him.
He is, yeah.
You, him, and me. We're all at Ed Sub. That's the last time I saw you a few months ago. Yeah. We're all getting phenomenal place to eat, by the way, Miramichi. Ed Sub in Newcastle.
Exactly. That's it.
This whole thing's just an ad for downtown sandwich restaurants.
Hey, listen, I mean, if we can get this podcast sponsored, I mean, that's so much the better as far as I'm concerned.
I'm trying. I will do everything I can for you to try to get, it's just going to be the next episode. It's just going to be 10 hours of ads, and then Sean wearing that sweater.
Exactly. That's it.
And somehow you have the mug now. It's like, stole the mug from Jimmy.
That's the mug.
Oh man.
So Jimmy, I know. Just this past fall, you were part of a 6-episode series on Bell TV called The Canoe Project. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, man, that was a great experience. So Bell 5. So going back about 5 years, I guess. So Mark Harnett, who's a comedian and writer and actor he's a half Inuit man who grew up in a northern Labrador community of less than 400 people, and then when he moved to this is in real life. When he moved to the big city center of St. John's, Newfoundland, he encountered a lot of racism and systemic racism that exists for visible minorities and especially, Indigenous people and First Nations people, unfortunately. So he wrote this script, which has gone through a lot of changes, but the core values of it still remain true. And he decided to turn it into a comedy. So he decided to tell, satirize something serious, which is risky to do. But he, decided to tackle a fairly serious issue through a comedic lens, which lots of people are doing, and I think it's a bold move. And so the Canoe Project, Canoe would have been his nickname growing up. I'm not sure. But he, so he basically plays a very loose version of himself in this film. It's a comedy series, and it stars myself, Lisa Baker, comedian, Mark Harnett. We met this incredible British actor, Charlie Tomlinson, who came in. He's been acting for 45 years. So like everyone knew their lines when he was on set. He was like, the only thing he's done in his life is act, and he lives in St. John's, Newfoundland, and he's a phenomenal actor. And he played my character's boss in the film, who was the Indigenous Affairs Minister. And so it was a big topic to go in and satirize it. And don't get me wrong, I was just like, looking at this and I'm like, wow, it's my first, episodic TV show where I'm one of the leads. And but I think it turned out great. And it's a big metaphor, but it was a great experience. And my cat's playing with all my pens here on the table again. He just can't leave me alone, can you, Conan? So so that we did that in St. John's, Newfoundland last April, actually, almost a year ago. And we're greenlit for season 2. Season 2 is going to be very, very different. I'm going to be involved in that as well. There's going to be some other actors involved. And we're hoping to shoot that in the spring, if not later on in the year. But the scripts are currently undergoing some development right now, and we have most of them done, but some of them need some emergency surgery. So we're going back and changing things and making sure that they're top notch and that they're funny as well, because this is a comedy series on Bell 5. But yeah, it was a great experience, Sean, and looking forward to season 2. And we had a great crew too. It was 6 episodes of 12 minutes each. Mm-hmm. So it's about 90 minutes of material that we shot in 5 days. So it was like 10 to 15 hours a day shooting, early mornings, long nights. The crew was absolutely great, though I had a few wardrobe changes per day. Everything was so organized where you knew when you had to go to makeup, where what you were going to be wearing, what your lines you had to know for the day. I had about 1,100 lines of dialogue to memorize, which is all impossible. So I had to the night before, had to memorize as much of the lines that I was responsible for the next day. And then, it was a lot of work. And it's like anyone who can make a movie now, I don't care how bad it is, I would just like applaud it, just because and everyone has to get along, and they were the easiest people to get along with. Yeah. What I will say about St. John's, Newfoundland, is that it is very cold in April. So very cold and pricey. Burgers and beer was very pricey. But the best people ever. I loved it there. Looking forward to going back. Hopefully in a warmer month, we get to shoot.
So you get a chance to see some icebergs?
Good stuff.
Yeah. Oh, no, I did not get... we did go up to... Where did Mark take me to? Because I got there a few days early, and I was just like his child. He was taken like on a little tour, and we went up to Marconi... what's it called? Where Marconi did the Canadian Heritage commercial years ago.
Signal Hill.
Signal Hill, yeah. That was on the bucket list. So we did that, and... it was really windy and cold, and I said, "I need to leave here immediately. This is great." I love how I'm on the history podcast here, and I'm like, "This is too much history for me. It's too much wind. I need a windbreaker. I need a Columbia windbreaker to be here, like Marconi did. He invented the radio and windbreakers, I believe."
On the same day, no less.
Yeah, no one's going to learn any history from my episode of Miramichi linkages. They're just going to be like, someone's going to get an answer wrong on a test if a student ever watches this. It'd be like, Marconi did not invent jackets.
I guess it goes to show
that's more than fine, Jimmy. Like I say, because I mean, you're. Yeah.
What's that?
So that goes to show that when I met Jim, it was interesting because we were teaching computer technology, and he tells me, I got a science degree. And then turn around, you end up to be a comedian. I do a lot of comedian work, a lot of acting and stuff. So is that some things are just destined, I guess.
Yeah. No, I'm still, I know. I was like, I'm going to really show, when my mother and father came out to see me at the Vogue Theater, in 2017, I'm like, I'm really going to show them what a 5-year degree paid for. My mother's like 6-year degree. Yeah. So no, it's we never know. When I was 17, I thought everyone just went and took science degrees. I don't know. I was sort of pressured into it because I have a lot of doctors and pharmacists in my family. So, you know, I thought everyone just worked at Jean Coutu when they came out of university. So everyone works at the Newcastle one, right? So I was just wondering, and so that's not the case. Yeah, you just find your way. I'm always a late bloomer too, so I was always you know, I'll try acting later. I'll try comedy later. I always get started in everything late because I don't know, too much fear or fear of failure. I don't know what it is, but glad to be here now. I'm glad to be telling jokes and being involved in a couple TV shows. But yeah, the one thing I will talk about is from the Canoe Project. The Bell 5 had reached out after it aired, and asked me if I have any ideas to do a show in my hometown of Miramichi. So we are great. Myself and my partner, we have a show coming out. Well, I'm not sure when it's coming out, but we're going to be beginning filming it in this July. So it's about working in an Irish pub. So I play the head chef of an Irish pub, and today at 1:00, my executive producer, Sandy Hunter, is coming up from Fredericton, and we're doing some location scouting for that.
Okay.
Yeah, so the show has to be delivered this September, and to be on Bell 5 TV1 in hopefully early 2024. And it's also going to be a comedy series as well. So 6 episodes, they're all written. My cat is scratching he has no idea how to behave when Daddy is doing a podcast. He has no idea. He dunked his head in my coffee a minute ago, stole the pen. Now he's scratching the new couch. This is our new place that we just moved into. So he's very excited about me being on this podcast. Yeah, so lots on the go. There's lots to do. And yeah, we'll be casting for that movie, or for the series rather, in the next few weeks. So we're going to be calling some people and putting out some casting calls. So we're very excited. It's a lot of work. Yeah, it's a lot of work. And but everything seems to be coming together nicely now.
That's great to hear. So yeah, so as we kind of draw to a close on this episode, I want to thank you again, Jimmy, for joining us and for sharing with us a little bit of your story and a bit about some of the connections that you've made through television and media and through comedy as well. And so anything more from anybody before we close up for this week?
I just want to say thank you very much for having me on. I watched a few of your episodes this past week. Remember you had Barb McIntosh on the other day. She was my grade 9 English teacher.
Okay.
Yes. We read The Outsiders together. So she was very influential for me. So yeah, you guys are doing a great job having very influential people on. I'm not sure how much of an influence I was today with my ramblings about my cat and about about other things. But I'm very thankful that you had me on, and I had a great chat. It's good catching up with Sarah, and it's great catching up with you, Sean. I hope that we get to work together soon.
Yeah, I would like that.
Thank you very much for coming, Jim.
Yeah, so that wraps it up for this week. And like I say, be sure, if you are a Bell subscriber, to check out the Canoe Project on 5TV. Keep an eye out for that second season, and of course for this new project that Jimmy referred to in this episode. And of course, if you're not a Bell subscriber, I mean, be sure to subscribe very soon, right? Yeah, that's it.
Like we all work for Bell now.
Well, that's it. Like I say, sponsorship anyway here, folks. You know what I mean? That's it. All right, so we will see you next week. Any last words from anybody before we sign off?
Be well, guys. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. All the best.
See you later.